After the latest update for the First Descendant, we have got some absolutely amazing new features, a new boss, a brand new character to hunt for in Luna, as well as some absolutely amazing new weapon buffs for our ultimate weapons, some of which were a little bit lacking beforehand. The main weapons that have changed are going to be the Greg's Reversed Fate, the Enduring Legacy, Dazeistras Devotion, and the Secret Garden. I'll be going over their stats beforehand compared to now, and why some of them are going to be truly powerful and well worth unlocking when you can. Now the first weapon we're going to be going over is going to be the Greg's Reversed Fate. This weapon is now probably going to be one of the most sought after ones. It's absolutely amazing. However, it's not because of an upgrade to its stats. The weapon specs have all stayed exactly the same for this one. They haven't really received an update. It's got the same amount of firearm critical hit damage at 2 times, and its crit rate again is going to be 20%. In fact, nothing really stands out. Everything is as it was beforehand, except now it's had an absolutely massive buff to its unique ability, which is going to be this one just here, Shaping Destiny. This ability beforehand was, I would say, almost useless. It was pretty darn awful, as it only had a chance to proc when it was hitting enemy shields. So pretty much on the first time you'd be able to get a little proc off, and you never really noticed it. It was kind of awful even on the bosses, and nobody really used this weapon because of just how bad this ability was. Now however, they've changed it, and on hitting an enemy there's a bombardment chance upon the enemy's location with a set chance. Nothing to do with shields, it's now just per kind of single bullet you're putting out, and it's also able to inflict burn on enemies when it's causing that bombardment. The trigger rate for this is around about 10%, but I see it proc a lot more often than that, so I'm not sure if it's per bullet or if I'm just lucky, but mine's activating very often. It causes up to a 3 count of bombardment, and the bombardment additional damage is based on your firearm damage times 100%. Also, it inflicts burn, really good again for a little bit of added damage, but the main proc you'll be after will be that bombardment, which will be great for bosses or just taking out a lot of enemies in one go. Over to what I believe will now just be people's #1 choice for out and out ease of use. Nice amount of high damage on single targets, as well as easily able to add clear. This now puts the Tamer to shame, and that's going to be your Enduring Legacy. The stats on this are absolutely amazing now, whereas beforehand they were good, but I would say the Tamer probably still surpassed it a little bit. Now there's no doubt in my mind that this, once it's fully upgraded, is going to be an absolute powerhouse to behold. The main reason for that is because they've boosted just one part of this weapon, and that's its actual firearm critical hit damage. Whereas before it was at 1.7, so good but not anything exceptional. Now it goes up to a massive amount of 2.3, so a 0.6% increase. If you're after a gun where you can just absolutely hold down the trigger, spray and pray but still get a massive amount of damage out, then this is now going to be the go-to gun, and I can see a lot of people using this on boss fights or anything they need to tear to shreds. Going over to its unique ability, this one's going to be Craftsmanship, an absolute monster once it's fully upgraded I'd imagine, and when you're hitting an enemy it's going to increase the status effect trigger rate corresponding to the element that you'll be using on the weapon and such. This is going to make it get quenching, whereby when you hit an enemy you're going to get a nice little attack boost to the damage of your weapon. Down the bottom here it says it's roughly 7% each time at start off, but I believe it can probably go up to about 10 or 11 if you max out your weapon with additional copies. Also, it's going to reduce how much fire resistance the actual enemies have, so this one will work very well with fire, so great for descendants such as Blair or of course Lepic. Nothing on this has changed whatsoever however though, so the main thing with this weapon is that it now does the additional crit damage. If we go up to a target just here, you'll see that this now does some really nice damage. I think it's just a really easy gun to use, and the buff to it makes it perfect for a lot of people just to mow down enemies and not have to worry about too much getting in their way. If handguns are your thing, then you could do a lot worse than this weapon there, and that's going to be your Dazeistras Devotion. This is an absolutely massive upgrade, it really is. Previously, this one was good, definitely worth using, not bad weak point damage, not bad crit, but ultimately it wasn't a complete powerhouse, whereas now they have boosted it by quite a margin. All of the stats say exactly the same as previous, except now the crit rate has gone all the way up to 45% from 36%, and the crit hit damage has gone up to a multiplier of 2.25 from an original of 2 times. If you're after headshots, if you're after getting a lot of damage out with your hand cannons, then this one is probably going to be a go-to choice for a lot of people now. Its unique ability on the other hand has had no buffs, is exactly the same. On hitting an enemy's weak point, it's going to inflict the unique ability Devotion Mark, and on hitting an ally, you can restore their shield depending on how much MP you've got and such, as long as you can activate it. All of this is exactly the same as it was previously, so it's good if you're trying to become a bit of a healer, probably like a Eugen maybe, but the main thing at the moment is definitely going to be the increased damage of why you may want to have this on your loadout. For the last one, we're going to be looking at the Secret Garden. This tactical rifle before was, I would say, very underwhelming. I wasn't a big fan of it, but now it's had a very big upgrade. Again, the stats are very much the same, but they've been looking into the firearm critical hit rate as well as the firearm critical hit damage. Now it does 50% firearm critical hit rate, and the damage multiplier is at 2.25. Whereas previously it was 35% critical hit chance and 1.85 critical hit damage. Again, they're really trying to focus on boosting the ultimate weapon's damage through their crit chance and crit damage, and I think this is a great way forward for them because it'll probably stop people going after just one gun or two guns that are still in that purple range. And instead, try and farm and enhance these. Its unique ability, however, is something that I think still holds this back. It's exactly the same again, because the Gardener ability, when using a Dimension skill, you're going to get some of your custom resources back, and more likely the main reason you'll be using it, tech skills grant the unique ability Pest Control with a set chance as well. These have not gone up in the slightest, which I definitely would have liked to see, because the weapon itself has an additional skill cost, means it can be a bit of a pain to hold on to, and the trigger rate for these is only at 24% when you're trying to get back your custom resources and 30% for the actual pest control. But I must admit this time it felt a little bit less to me and didn't activate quite as often as I'd hoped. It doesn't work with every single skill, for example your special weapons on your characters. Here's me trying it out on Lepic, praying that in the update it would give me additional damage. However, it does not proc at all as far as I've seen. I've tried it 3 times in a row and never got it. Whereas with a few other characters you can make it work, such as Ajax. But again, I'm not sure if it's something that you'd be able to put into your kit, or even if you'd want to, until they boost this or change the skill in some way, shape or form. But going over to the shooting, I completely forgot to upgrade this one, so apologies. This is just level 1. But again, it has got a damage multiplier. It does crit ridiculously often with that 50%. So if you want to use it just for a weapon for damage, it may well be a nice choice for you. But yeah, hopefully that's helped a few of you guys and girls out. There's going to be a load more content away from me. Hints, tips, guides and some great builds coming up. As always, All Things Gaming, take care. I'll see you on the next day.